Welcome, welcome, welcome. Greetings and salutations. I am your host, Rabbi David Katz. How are you guys feeling tonight? Are you feeling a little bit spunky? Hello? Anyone? Hello? Frisky. All right, we made it back alive from Cape Town. Let's all thank Jacques. A big round of applause for Jacques for sending me back in one piece. If I remember correctly from the last time we spoke, we were talking about the pending Cape Town trip, and apparently I made it back alive. Thank you, Jacques. We ended the Shabbos Goy series, and then in Cape Town we spoke a lot about the Shabbos Goy series. Jacques, give me a one on that, please. And as I went through this day today thinking about what I was going to teach. Justin Becker would have you believe that I was going to teach Shituf, Justin type 1. But I changed my mind because, like I said, I'm always leaving Shituf to the end. How many of you have ever had Lucky Charms cereal? Any of you? Lucky Charms, anyone? I don't know about you, but what do you do, Justin? How do you eat Lucky Charms? Do you have a way of eating it? I save the marshmallows to the end. You better believe that's what I don't know if it's kosher, but when I used to eat it, that's what I did too. At the very end, you got a whole bowl of marshmallows. So that's what Shituf is. It's the world that we're in. And we're saving Shituf for the end. So here's what the series is going to be. We're entering into a new mini-series. For those of you that have not heard the news, I have been banned and kicked off of Facebook. I'm joking. I left on my own volition. Thank you, Jacques. In Cape Town, we realized that we got to get this thing up to the next level, and little bickering controversies in Facebook forums is not where I want to be, thank God. So as the website is being built, I have removed myself from Facebook discussions simply because it's inappropriate at this point going forward. I do have Messenger on my desktop. That's where I'm working. Basically, I've moved off of Facebook and into Messenger. I don't know if you guys know this, but Facebook has a website called messenger.com, which is what they use for Messenger. It's very nice. So I will have Messenger open. God willing, the yeshiva will be open, giving class, obviously, in the yeshiva. That's what we are here for tonight, is it not? And emails, answering questions. Skype is always an option for those that want to talk to me. Basically, nothing changes. I'm just not on Facebook. So with that said, I have more time to return to the base medrash and to study, and I've seen a major shift in a positive direction. I think it's going to be good for everybody. And we have a kind of a general challenge to the Ger community, and that is everyone to up their game, stop bickering, and start promoting light, and let other points of view remain doing what they do. We don't need to entertain that. I think we've proven Ger's right a billion times. Let's do this the right way. I think it's ready. I've had some great meetings since coming back from Cape Town. Everyone's pumped. Everyone's primed and ready for the reboot 2.0. So let's do it right? With that said as well, the series that we're going to do, I don't know what we're calling it, but according to what we do with Ger Torah and Noahide Halacha, I would say the name of the series is going to be called Making Gerim Alongside Noahide Ideology. Okay? Making Gerim Alongside Noahide Ideology. To the point where we will say that the concept of making Ger is the same derivative in sources as Noahide ideology. All right. And we're going to outline what is Noahide ideology, what is making Gerim, And I intend on this series being my most up-to-date model of Ger Torah. So usually I give this at the wall. If you want to go freeze at the wall, you can do that. I choose not to, which means the wall class will continue when it's spring. It's cold there. So we're going to use the Dinim class to give over the updated Ger codes and Torah and oscillate it and compare and contrast with Noahide stuff. So this will be a long, long series. I don't know how long. Maybe 4 classes, maybe 10. I don't know. But I think that Cape Town really got a handle on the whole sugya just through discussions and meeting people down there and upon coming back and learning. So I don't know about you guys, but are you ready to rock? Are you ready to dig out what is Noahism and what is Gerism? Because I'm ready. I'm pumped and psyched and ready to go. What about you? Hello, hello, hello. No one's responding. No one's here. All right. There they are. Okay. They showed up. All right. I don't know or have in mind any order, and I just got it all in the front burner of my brain. So just try to follow where I'm going. It'll take its mazel. The class will shape up, and we'll figure out what we're doing in terms of the agenda laid out and the order, what I'm trying to prove and show. Again, I got it in my mind. How that comes out in real time, you got to plug in and strap in and wait and see. Who's that? That's somebody who wants access. That's who is that? Someone from South Africa. As Russell Kirk says, that's an automatic acceptance. If you're from South Africa or the Philippines, you're automatically accepted. That's right. Russell Kirk 101. All right, let's roll. Does anybody here have a good microphone working? To be a sidekick, a wingman, co-pilot, anyone? I generally like to have a co-pilot for the Thursday night class. But if no one's going to step up, Justin Becker, can you get that microphone going one day? Is that a possibility to get you as a wingman status? All right, so let me know about that. And who do we have here? Zuki, Zukail, whatever. I can't read it with my glasses. Who are you? And Melissa, who are you? And Izza, who are you? Who are these people? Identify. Who are these 3 people that are here? Well, it's good to see you, but we want to know who you are. And we're waiting on Izza and Melissa. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. All right. I guess that means no answer. Let's go. Okay. We're going to start off with this. Can anyone tell me what the word Noahide is, or what it implies, where it comes from? I want an essay on Noahide. What is Noahide? That's going to, again, that's one half of the theme here. What is Noahide? There's something called making Gerim, which I'm going to ask very soon what that is too. And what is Noahide? I like Jacques' answer. It's an ideology. That's why I told Shifra Hendry yesterday. Depends on the person. That's also a good answer. Rabbi Katz, we met on your last day of your trip here in South Africa. Sydney's wife? Hey, there you go. Good to see you. There you go. Very good to see you. Very, 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 very good to see you. Am I pronouncing your name right? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Am I pronouncing your name right? Or tell me how to pronounce the name so I don't sound like an idiot from here on out. Give me okay. Hello, Izza. Izza, how did you find us? And give me like a open mouth. Zukile? Is that right? Zukile? All right. I'm a natural. What can I tell you? All right, if I forget, remind me, okay? All right. Is it good? Thanks to Nativ. Good to see you. All right. What is a Noahide? What is a Noahide? What is Noahide? We'll throw a curveball question your way. What language is the word Noahide? What language am I speaking when I say blah, 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 Noahide, blah, blah, blah? What language did I speak in? What language did I speak in? Jock, don't be cute. I'm speaking in English. Noahide is spelled Noahide. Noahide. Everyone type one. Type one quickly. Type one. Type one. Type one. That is an English word. Now, everyone that comes to my Mishlei class, Justin Becker, knows that I like to get into etymologies. Is that correct, Justin B? I like to throw in etymologies and linguistic little curveballs. So I'm going to give you an example before continuing. Are you guys ready for an example? Are you ready for an example? Okay. Have any of you ever heard of this English word / concept called glasses? There are actually people that have wire-type frames with glass lenses inside, and they put them on their face, over their eyes, across the bridge of their nose in an effort to see better. They call it glasses in English. Are any of you familiar with this concept called glasses? Okay. So in modern Hebrew, a language that has been redeveloped over the last 150 years, do not confuse it with biblical Hebrew. And there's much more to be said about that, but we're not going to get into that right now. Modern Hebrew, what the Israeli people speak, some people call that language Israeli, is 0% related to what you read in your Humash, right? The Torah itself is not modern Hebrew. Type 2 if that's a Chiddush for you. Type 1 if you've already known that. Type 1 if you know this. Type 2 if this is a shock. Okay, Zukile, you just learned a Chiddush. Mazel Tov, you now know that what Israelis speak is not authentic Hebrew. Type 1 for confirmation on that, please. Type 1 for the confirmation. There you go. So now in modern Hebrew, and let's try to call that Israeli. I have a book on linguistics that calls it Israeli. And in modern Hebrew Israeli, they call glasses mishkafayim. Type 1 if you heard me correctly. Mishkafayim. Mishkafayim. Type 1 if you heard me say that. Now, it comes from, one would think, there's a Hebrew word called hashkafa. Mishkafayim, M as in Mary, I-S-H. There's no proper way to spell it. K-A, Mishka, F as in Frank, A-Y-I-M as in Mary. There you go, Justin B. So Mishkafayim comes from the word shakef. Can you see that or hear that inside? Mishkafayim, you would say it in a weird encyclopedic entry. Mishakef ayim. Hear the word shakef? Type 1. Mishakef ayim. Do you hear the shakef? Type 1. Type 1. So the word shakef, in biblical Hebrew, you can call it hashkafa. A spiritual outlook is called hashkafa. I have the hashkafa of modern Orthodox. I have the hashkafa of Chabad. I have the hashkafa of Breslov. Are you following my pattern here? I have the hashkafa of Hasidic. I have blah, blah, blah. And it comes from the word shakif, outlook, spiritual view, spiritual lens. So how many other words are in biblical Hebrew as shakif is a biblical root? How many other Israeli words, or biblical Hebrew words rather, imply vision? chazon, chazar, roe. So there's at least a couple more. And the question they ask Ben Yehuda, why didn't he call glasses roaim, choznaim? Type 1 if you hear the question. Why aren't glasses called choznaim, roaim? And the answer is that he chose mishkafayim from shakef because in Greek, there is a word for glasses that sounds like mishkafayim. So why did Ben Yehuda choose mishkafayim? Because it sounds like a known Greek word. And you'll say, Rabbi Katz, that's far-fetched. I don't see what you're saying. Pun intended. You need to check your sources. I don't think you really know how to learn. You call yourself a linguist. We've heard the excuses, correct? Yes. Okay. So, how many of you, to prove this theory, have ever heard of the English word information? Any of you ever heard of this word? Sometimes if you go to a mall, they'll have an information booth. You ever seen that? In modern Hebrew, but like an outdated term, they call it information meidah. Justin Becker, do you know why they call information meidah? Justin Becker, do you know why they call information meidah? It comes from the language yodeya, dot, yodeya, knowing. So meidah is some kind of modern Hebrew meidah, knowing, information-ish kind of thing. Type 1. Everyone should type 1. So here's the big shock here. You ready? Modern Israeli has changed the word for information. No longer is it intellectually elite to call information meidah. You know what they call information now in Israel? Who knows? Who knows this answer? Informatia. Informatia. Where do you think they got the word informatia from? Is that a biblical Hebrew term, Jacques? Informatia? Who thinks they know where it came from? Let's see if you're all a bunch of linguists. How about English American information? And they just put a little Israeli zets on it. It is English information. Information. And then the Israelis wanted to make it sound in the construct of Hebrew, so we'll call it informatia. How many of you have ever heard of an application? Application. One. Hello? One. Okay. What language is application? You should say very quickly English. English. How do you say application in Israeli? Let's hear it. Let's all hear it. How do you say application in Israeli? Applicatia. Applicatia. So there's a construct, and when they make new words, there's X amount of templates, and they fit it in. You see how linguistics works on one foot? I'm kind of a amateur linguist these days. I'm studying it, as Justin Becker knows. So when they bring in a new word, they have to figure out what they're going to call the word, what mother language they're bringing it from, or source language they're bringing it from, and then they Israelicize it. They make it sound Israeli. And there's a lot of words like this. Now, let's go back to our topic. How many of you have ever heard the English word Noahide? Noahide. Now, am I saying Noahide or Noahide? How does everyone say Noahide? Is it Noahide or is it Noahide? How is it? How have you heard it? How have you guys come to it? Noahide. You know why it's Noahide and not Noahide? Does anyone know why it's not Noahide? But why don't we say, is that really true, Justin? Because it's easy to say? Or is it because in the English language, there's no cha? There's no cha in English. So by default, it's Noahide. Correct? We're being a little sassy today, but that's the nature of the class. So we are. Is it safe to say that Noahide is a completely restricted and constricted term in the English language, and there's no remnant of Hebrew whatsoever? Noahide. Okay. So now it's an English word, but it's a funny word. What is Noahide trying to achieve? Is it a translation or is it a brand new English word? These are all good answers. I'm just trying to rack my brain. What do you call, and in linguistics, I forget the term, what you call a word. What's a word in linguistics? I gotta look this up. Hold on a second. This is driving me crazy. This is a good word. You gotta know this word. Hold on. This is a very, very, very good word. Know this word. No, linguistics is all about the vocabulary. Oh man, what's it called again? Hold on. Oh man, we gotta find this out. This is a very important word. Lexeme. No, everyone say that word out loud and type it. Lexeme. Everyone say and type that word. Lexeme. Okay, so in the dictionary, even though you might have run, running, ran, Lexeme, E-M-E. So how many words did I just say? Run, ran, and running. You should all say 3 words. Everyone say out loud 3 words. Ready? Now, a lexeme would say that run, ran, and running is only one lexeme. One root word. You see that? Run, ran, and running is the same lexeme. So is Noahide a new translation? By the way, the entire Ger Toshav Noahide friction, you totally could reduce that to what is called a linguistic argument. It fits perfectly, painfully perfectly. So therefore, I forget the new word. Oh man, there's a word. I wish my terminology was up to speed. Linguistics is all about the terminology. I think neology or something is the new word. I gotta look it up. But is Noahide a new word, or is it simply a non-word but a translation? You hear the question. There is a constituency of people in the world who are fighting for Noahide, but what exactly are they fighting about? Are they saying that our translation's right, or are they saying that they've invented a new word? And I'm trying to look up the term for that. I really wish my jargon and I think I might read this book again. You know that? I think that's my new Shabbos task is rereading this book. It's a fantastic book. It's called Language, Contact, and Lexical Enrichment in Israeli Hebrew. It's a game changer. It's a real game changer. 100% game changer. I think it's called, I want to look up that word. Hold on. I just want to get you guys where I'm at. Hold on 1 second. I just want to be tight with this. So I wish he had like a... Oh, you know what? I think he does have it. Hold on here. Hold on. Yeah, there it is. He's got a good index here. Neil 148. 1 second. 1 second. 148. Here we go. 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 1 second here. Neil, hold on. Come on, where's the word? Bear with me. This is extra credit work we're doing here. This is not part of the class. This is called extra credit. Why do we do extra credit? Because we always do the longest way possible to learn the most amount of information. Type 1. Let me use Rabbi Google. Wait. Rabbi Google needs to help me out here. Rabbi Google, please help me out. I think it's called neologism. It's the art, yeah. So the word is neologism. Here, this is important for you guys. I want everyone to read this. Ready? Go here. Do your homework. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. Neologism is the name for a relatively new or isolated term. See how that's Noahide? What do you call the unit of a neologism? Let's see here. A neologism is the name. So there's your answer. Noahide is a neologism. Am I even pronouncing that correctly? Let me see here. Neologism. Neologism. There it is. Neologism. Neologism. Yeah, okay, there it is. Neologism. Neologisms are often directly attributable to a specific person, publication, period, or event. Okay. A proponent of a new word or doctrine may be called a neologist. Neologists might study cultural and ethnic vernacular. The term neologism has a broader meaning that includes not only an entirely new lexical item, but also an existing word whose meaning has been altered. Man, is this not apropos? Is this not apropos? Seriously. This is it. I'm definitely reviewing this book. This is hot stuff. Neologisms are, neologism. Neologisms are usually introduced when an individual or individuals find that a specific notion is lacking a term in a language, or when the existing vocabulary is insufficiently detailed. Okay. Now, can we all agree that Noahide is a neologism? I'll give you guys the link for the book. This book will change your lives. It's a very difficult read, and you got to look up a lot of stuff. But it's worth it. Here, language, context. Oh, context, sorry. Contact. And lexical. There it is. And let's take it to Amazon. And go like that. And go like this. And go like that. And go like that. This book will change your lives. There it is. This book will change. It's expensive, but this book is like revealing everything you ever need to know about the Noahide Ger issue. And I'll tell you, there's another book that you should read in conjunction with this. Oxford Language. Hold on a second. English. Let's see here. Encyclopedia. No, I think it's Cambridge, not Oxford. Cambridge. There it is. There it is. This book will also, this is your homework. For those of you that want to get serious, read these two books. Read the Cambridge one first, and then the lexical one. This will make you, from what I've read on the internet, if you know these two books, you will be an amateur linguist. Okay. All right, that's my little introduction there. So now that we've established that, Noahide. Yes, Jacques, fascinating. Noahide is a new lexeme. It is an attempted neologism, type 1. Is Noahide a translation or a new lexeme? What do you think? Now, this question that I just asked you is the essence of linguistics. The essence of linguistics. How many of you have heard of the Greek concept logos? Logos. This is logos. When you try to answer that question, it is the essence of not Torah. Why? Because what the linguist is trying to do is to answer the person what's the name of that thing again? When hold on, what's he called again? The neologist. When the neologist invented the word, type 1, everybody. When the neologist invented the word, about 100 years ago, there was a neologist named Bob, type 1. And Bob came out with a word called the kazoo. Everyone type 1 for Bob. He was a neologist who came out with a neologism called the kazoo. And now scholars at Rabbi Katz University are studying what was Bob thinking when he called the kazoo a kazoo. Type 1. Some say that Bob named the kazoo after the Latin word kozlahu, which was a party horn used in ancient Rome. Did you know that? Type 1. But others argue that Bob was speaking about the Greek term klazlehu, which was a horn used before war, and they would blow it. Some say kazoo is a hybrid of ka and zahu, coming from two Arabic words. Ka meaning like, and zahu, a ram's horn. Type 1. What was Bob thinking when he named the kazoo? Does anyone know? The linguist wants to know, what was Bob thinking? What is the etymology of kazoo. No, Justin, that was Kalamazoo. Bob's last name was Kalamazoo, which is a coincidence. What was Bob thinking? Does anybody know? You want to know why none of you know? Because you can't know. It's impossible to know. You will never, ever, 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 ever know. Bob is dead. It's not a made-up word. Bob did have a thought when he made the word. Now, Torah and Mazel would say, Bob was a scholar. Bob looked it up, Jacques. Bob knew how to look things up. And Bob found out that like 4 words for horn all sounded kind of the same in different languages. So Bob was an English speaker. So he took the words from other languages and molded it into what would be called the kazoo, type 1. And then the linguists would argue, what was Bob thinking when he named the kazoo? Again, Mazel tells you you'll never know. It's called Bob just knew. He had a revelation, and it's not Logos, it's Mazel. Logos wants to say, what was the initial word's meaning? It must mean something, Jacques. We have Greek concretized minds. We have to have a meaning for the word kazoo, type 1. Whereas Mazel Hebrew says, there's no one meaning, Jacques, for the word kazoo. It can have many meanings at one time. Does this sound familiar to y'all? Ger can have several meanings, and it's not a contradiction. So now we go back to our argument. What does Noahide mean? What is the neologism of Noahide? Is it a translation? Is it a new lexeme? What is it? What did the person who coined the term Noahide mean when he said it's Noahide? What did he mean? Where was he going? We got to find Bob the Noahide. But would that even help finding Bob the Noahide? Could we get a linear answer from Bob? Is there a one answer? Is there a one answer what it means? Oh, well, it definitely is only a translation. Did Bob only mean a translation? Or did he try to make a new lexeme? The answer is D, none of the above. Everyone say in your own space, D, none of the above. You know why? There should be only one in this case. Zukile, that's exactly what we're trying to say the opposite of. In Torah, it's never one. Never, ever one. There's no such thing as when Jacques was named Jacques, they had one thing in mind. They didn't. By definition, there's always a superconscious position. Jacques was named Jacques for at least 2 reasons. Jacques' grandfather was named Jacques, and they named him after his grandfather. But his dad said, we're going to name him after your father, but there's a great TV star named Jacques Jones. And I love Jacques Jones. Hey, you know what? I agree. Let's name the kid Jacques. Type 1, Jacques. So now Jacques walks around by the name Jacques, partly because of his grandfather and because his father loved a TV guy named Jacques Jones. Do you guys follow my analogy here? Everything has more than one view in it. There's no such thing as the answer or one answer. It doesn't exist. Chachma, by definition, has 2 parts. Wisdom has more than one part. Okay? How many of you got dressed today? Are any of you dressed right now? Are any of you dressed? Any of you? How many of you are wearing a shirt right now? Okay, look at your shirt. Everyone look at your shirt. And I want you to think, how many of you know why you put on and chose that shirt today? Can any of you answer that question? Why you chose that shirt? But why that particular shirt? I'm sure you have two shirts that are warm. There's many reasons. Justin Becker, do you like your shirt? So, did you wear your shirt because you liked it or because it's warm? Which one? Because you like it or because it's warm? And because it was the first one I found. So 3 reasons. Look at that. Justin Becker has 3 reasons why he wore a shirt. It is not logos. That is called mazel. If anybody asked Justin Becker why he was wearing that shirt and he gave you 3 different reasons, would Justin be found to be a liar? It was the first shirt I found. Well, then why did you say you liked it? It should be the first shirt you found. Well, it's warm. Well, you said it's the shirt. You said you liked it. Now you say it's warm. Do you see how linguistics works a little bit? So the Greek mind would challenge Justin to try to find out, why did Justin choose the shirt? Was it really just because it was warm outside, or it needed to be warmed up in the cold? Or does he just like it? Or is it just the first one he found? That's called philosophy. The Greek philosophy would try to figure out exactly why Justin chose his warm shirt, despite the fact it's the first one he found. Jewish Torah Mazel says, everybody relax, Justin simply is wearing a warm shirt. You don't need to find out the theory of why. Just accept the fact he is wearing a shirt. Now, there are reasons in him why he chose that shirt. We don't need to boil it down to one reason. It may be interesting to discuss the reasons, but there is not one reason. Now, when dealing with the Noahide question, what we can say definitively is one thing. Can we assume or entertain that Noahide may be some type of translation? Type 1. Because it's obviously not a known English word. I never met a man named Noahide. I never ate Noahide soup. I never saw Noahide the TV show. And I don't wear Noahide shoes. Type 1. I'm pretty sure there's no borrowed word called Noahide. Probably not in Greek, probably not in Latin, probably not in Russian, and probably not in Arabic, and probably not in Antarctican. Type 1. So we can assume that it is some kind of attempted translation of something. Type 1. Now here's your $1 million question. Is Noahide a translation of B'nai Noach? Some may think it is, some may attempt it to be, but when Bob Jones, Bob the Noahide, in 1907, remember him? The first guy to ever coin the term Noahide. Was Noahide a translation of B'nai Noach? The answer is no. Fundamentally, no. You know why? Because there is a translation for B'nai Noach. You know how to translate B'nai Noach into English? The sons of Noah. if they wanted to translate the B'nai Noach into English as I am a Noahide, they would say, I am the B'nai Noach. And then he would say, well, that's ridiculous to call yourself by plural. Okay, so I'm a Ben Noach. Okay, so we're going to attempt to say Noahide is a translation of Ben Noach. Is that correct? Then can we assume that as a religious doctrine, Noahide would be translating Ben Noach from somewhere in the Torah? I don't know of any other regime that holds by the concept of B'nai Noach. So there must be in the Torah somewhere where it says Ben Noach, and the appropriate translation is Noahide. Is that correct? Now, we can already throw a curveball. When Bob the Noahide made the translation, theoretically, of Noahide and Ben Noach, was Bob translating from the Chumash or from the oral Torah? What do you think? If we are going to play and entertain the translation theory, was Bob translating from the written or oral Torah? Jacques says oral Torah. Justin says written Torah. Justin, is Ben Noach written anywhere outside of Noah and his literal sons? Does it say anywhere in the written Ben Noach? No. So if they are attempting to translate, wouldn't it be nice to have a term to translate from? Okay, it must be the oral Torah. Jacques would tell you, Jacques, I love you for this one. If Noahide is a translation of Ben Noach, what's the source that you're translating from? Simply, I would like to see the source that you are referring to as Noahide that was translated from Ben Noach. And I'll even throw you a bigger bone. A lot of our friends online like to quote the Gemara Talmud Sanhedrin 58 that talks about the 7 laws of Noah. Have you guys ever heard of the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, translated as the 7 laws of Noah? You guys ever hear that? So the Talmud in Sanhedrin deals with Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, 7 laws of the sons of Noah. And in that Talmud, it talks about the Ben Noach. So what the pundits are saying in their search for Greek logos is that Noahide is restricted to one page of the Talmud that deals with the 7 laws of Noah, where it refers to a Ben Noach, we translate as Noahide, and the entire 7 billion people on earth that are not Jewish, their entire Torah and relationship with God and identity and connection of soul is one page of Talmud that tells them what the 7 laws of Noah are. And Noahide is that. What do you think? A Noahide is the ideology and pseudo-religion and nature of soul given to an entire people from one page of Talmud. Well, not only is it boring, but the Noahide advocates bring us passages from other places in the Talmud. How is that possible? How is that possible? And guess what? Not every other source calls it a Ben Noach. Now what are we going to do? They're bringing us Torah that's not called Ben Noach. And we only want it to be called Noahide because it translates Ben Noach. So either I stick to my one page of Talmud or I have a problem. Guess what a person is called who attempts to keep the 7 laws of Noah in his plight to be a Ben Noach? But he's working on it. What do you think he's called in Hebrew? We call that a goy. Conversely, an akum, or biblically a nachri. So you're going to tell me that Noahide is a Ben Noach, but simultaneously an idolater. How you feeling? So why do we call it a Noahide? Why don't we just call it a Gentile? Wouldn't that be better? The translation of a non-Jew generally is a Gentile. But the problem is it sounds linguistically that the 7 laws of Noah relate to Noahide, because if I say the 7 laws of Goyim or the 7 laws of Noah doesn't translate in my brain when I say Gentile. I'm a Gentile and I keep the 7 laws of Noah. That actually might be more accurate. I am a Gentile and I am struggling to keep the 7 laws of Noah. So if that's true, why not just call them Gentiles? Why are we calling it Noahide? Because they're actually Gentiles. Hebrew translated Goy Akum Nachri. So it sounds like Noahide is an attempt to sound linguistically like B'nai Noach, type 1. Remember what glasses is in Hebrew? Mishkafayim? It's really a Greek word for glasses. It doesn't mean to look at all. The word selection came primarily from Greek. And it had a little bit to do with vision. So now I'll ask you again. Is Noahide really a translation or an attempt more so to being a lexeme and neologism? It's a neologism. It's a lexeme, which means they have coined a new word. They have coined a new word in the most classic way that linguistics works. It doesn't get more classic linguistically, does it? They followed the pattern of linguistics to a T. You don't get more perfect linguistics. And then they try to Greek it by calling it logos, discussing what it is. And I'm telling you what it is not. It is not a translation of the topic of 7 laws of Noah, or the children of Noah, or a son of Noah. We have proven linguistically it's not a translation. Type 1. So the question becomes, 100 years from now, when Bob the Noahide writes his dictionary, what will they call the Noahide in the dictionary? And what will the etymology of Noahide be? That's an interesting question, isn't it? Because right now we're in the middle of history. History is happening. A new religion is forming in our midst. And the record books are going to look back in the 20th and 21st century, and there's going to be a definition of Noahide, and there will be an etymology to it. What does the word mean? And that will be a subject of debate by the linguists. And they'll probably reincarnate Noam Chomsky to come and mess it up. So can I tell you what a Noahide really is? That sounds like a dodgy thing to say, doesn't it? I'll tell you what it really is. Buy my book for $39.95. But we know what it is, because we work with Noahides. Noahide is a lexeme. It's a word. And it's a classically chosen linguistic word. It is chosen to sound Noah-ish. Is it not? It is meant to sound Noah-ish. Remember we said it's not called Noahide, it's called Noahide. If it was Noahide, it would be Noahism as a definition. All about Noah. All about Noah. So then you have to ask yourself, why don't they call it Noahide? The answer is Noahide has nothing to do with Noah. Outside of cute little gadgets to buy on a website, buy our book with Noah on the cover with the giraffe in the boat. How many of you guys want to buy a picture frame with a giraffe and a boat? We are the Noahides. Let's be cliche with our rainbow. Hey, there's a lot of rain outside. Hope it doesn't flood. Right? So if the religion was called Noahide, then it would be all about Noach. That might be not a bad alternative. A religion, no more Yeshu, no more Avodah Zarah. Our spiritual leader and the prophesied Messiah will be the second coming of Noah. That's a pretty good religion. Let's do it. Let's make a new religion. Noahide, the second coming of Noah. We believe that there will be a flood in the end of days, and God will send Noach 2.0 rebooted to save the world and bring mankind into the 7 Noahide laws. Our slogan will be, No Noach. Okay, so we see that it's not Noahide, type 1. We see that it's not Noahide, type 1. And we see that it is Noahide, type 1. Noahide is a lexeme, type 1. It's an accepted neologism. It's an accepted word. It made it through the gauntlet. Some words don't make it through. There is a word called Noahide. We can't deny that. There's an accepted, known word on earth called Noahide. But therefore, if it's a lexeme, you cannot call it a translation, can you? It's not a translation, and it's not Noach. Therefore, it's a lexeme called Noahide. And it has, is Noahide based on Noah or the sons of Noah or a son of Noah or the 7 laws of Noah? Which one do you think it is? What is Noahide really trying to say and base itself on? Which one is it? Is it a movement of Noah? A movement of the sons of Noah? A movement of the 7 laws of Noah? Is it a religion of worshiping the sun? I don't know. What is Noah? 7 laws in monotheism. I agree with you, Zucchini. I absolutely agree. I think we should all type 1. Let's agree with that. 7 laws in monotheism. Isn't that called an ideology? Would you call that an ideology? I'd call that an ideology. Let's look up how many of us actually know what ideology means. And let's look up the superconscious non-logos position of what is an ideology. I'm an amateur linguist. Let's give it a go. As my friend Amna would say, I'm a low-grade amateur linguist. A bit caliber, Jacques, a bit. Ideology, visionary theorizing, a systematic body of concepts, especially about human life or culture. A manner or the content of thinking characteristic of an individual group or culture. The integrated assertions, theories, and aims that constitute a socio-political program. Can we agree that it's an ideology? What do you think? Sounds very ideology to me. What do you think? Anyone agree? Disagree? But let's do the tested, trusty etymology of ideology. And ideology is a science of ideas. Originally, philosophy of the mind, which derives knowledge from the senses. It comes from the word idea and logi. Systematic set of ideas, doctrines to which the world is interpreted. What does idea mean? Concept of a thing in the mind of God. Class, kind, sort, or species. What is an alogy? Element forming, speaking, discourse, treatise, doctrine, theory, or science. So it's we'll call it the science of concepts in the mind of God. I think we can call ideology Noahide. Can I get a 1 or 2? Noahide, I'm making a declaration. Noahide is an ideology. That when they coined the term Noahide as a non-translation, therefore it's a lexeme. Now, the ideology, you cannot say it's one thing, because that would be logos. An ideology to emulate Noah. An ideology to keep the 7 laws. An ideology to revive the 7 laws of Noah. An ideology, no. It is a great, vast ideology of a lot of things Noah-ish. Can we call it Noah stuff? How about an ideology of a bunch of Noah stuff? What do you think? 1 or 2? A bunch of Noah stuff. And there's a lot of Noah stuff that don't involve Noah. 7 laws of Noah, saving the world, mankind, Torah, Israel, a kind of just a big McDonald's version of Torah. How about that? A big McDonald's version of Torah. So this class, the beginning of the series, has delved into Noahide, an ideology of Noah stuff. Now, if that's true, Who defines within Noahism or Noahidism what Noahide the ideology is? Who formulates the ideology? Who formulates the ideology? You want me to tell you the answer? I can tell you who makes Noahide ideology happen. Who wants to know the answer? Who's the kingpin or kingpins that make it happen? Ready for the answer? Rabbi David Katz is the master of Noahide. Want me to prove it to you? I will prove to you that I am elected to make doctrine of Noahide. Shall I prove it to you? Type 1. Noahide says that as a doctrine that Ger Toshav only exists in Jubilee and does not exist today. How did that doctrine come into being? Come on, you got to love that one. Where did the Noahide doctrine of there's no Ger Toshav happen? It's called We the Noahides have responded to Rabbi David Katz's claim of a Ger Toshav today. Am I wrong? A bunch of Noahides got together and they were greatly disturbed by a group in Cape Town who called themselves Nilva, a derivative of Ger Toshav, and X amount of leaders within the movement and the inheritors of the great late Vendel Jones had formed a little assembly to declare ideology of Noahide is categorically against Ger Toshav. Type 1 if you agree. So there's now an ideology within Noahide that says we do not believe or want Ger Toshav. What do you think, Justin? Pretty incredible, isn't it? Pretty incredible claim. Now, just as fast as Noahide has a doctrine to reject Ger Toshav, theoretically, the powers that be could come together and say, we, the Noahides, have come to terms and realize that there is Ger Toshav today. That could happen. The point is that the Noahides themselves and the Noahide rabbis have a doctrine in their ideology that lets them make halacha as they see fit. They can change halacha as they see fit. One could call that dogma. Another could call it the doctrines borrowed from modern orthodoxy. And therefore, that is part of what Noahide is. And they didn't even know that they had this in there, the Ger Toshav element, until Rabbi David Katz came and said there is Ger Toshav based on Torah. Noahide at that time realized more of its identity, and it bought into its identity and is suffering the consequences of its own identity. So within the Noahide ideology, there is a sleeping giant from the Mohim of what Noahide is, based on those involved in it, and they are every day finding out more and more and living out their destiny of Noahide. So it's not definable. It exists in potential. They've realized X amount of potential, and they are a living embodiment of ideology. Type 1. We've seen that it's not based on Torah. It's not linguistically based in Torah. It's a classic linguistic entity. It's related to Torah. It's Torah-like. There are Torah principles and values inside, but it is not a direct offspring of Torah.